majority of the time when I get to the deep root of majority of my problems, it was my fault. For the most part, I feel like that's the only way you truly are able to grow in situations too, because without accountability, you're constantly blaming someone else. You're constantly saying it's their fault instead of looking at what you could have done to make the situation better. And it's a lot easier to blame others in situations where you have to look at yourself. It. Hey guys, I'm back with another episode of Mental Wealth. This podcast is used to express thoughts, experiences, and lessons. I aim to be as transparent as possible. If you enjoy an episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and tell a friend. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to Mental Wealth. In today's episode, I plan to give you guys a life update and to talk about accountability. So today's Thursday. I just got back from West Virginia yesterday. I went to my first award ceremony outside of it being athletic related. And for the most part, I almost had my first Soldier Boy moment. It was a great experience. Oh, let me talk about the nomination and stuff. I was nominated with the Presidential Excellence Award, which is great. I mean, I never would even thought I'd be recognized for anything I've done outside of it being athletic related. This past semester, I had a 4.0 GPA, the first time I've done it since I've got to college. So it's very impressive, and I didn't expect anybody to notice. I do a lot of great things all the time, and I really don't get as much recognition. So to even be recognized is a great opportunity, and for the most part, it was great. I would say my only problem with it was that I didn't win. I live 4 hours away from West Virginia, so to drive up there and to not win, I was just a little bit saddened about it. I also think I didn't win because most people don't know me, and I take majority of my classes online. And the people that they chose, for the most part, you could tell that everybody already knew them. Because I'm like, there's no way they went through what I had to go through this past semester and still achieved with excellence. I mean, I don't mean to compare my situation with anybody else's, but for the most part, I feel like ain't nobody put more work in than me. That's how life is. Everything don't go your way majority of the time. I would say, as far as with accountability, that's been really on my mind lately because it's not only affected me, but it affects everybody. I mean, I wouldn't sit down in my room and talk about accountability for no reason. For the most part, accountability is the ability to own up to your own actions. I find that in today's society, it's a lot easier to blame others for situations that start with you. I find that majority of the time when I get to the deep root of majority of my problems, it was my fault. For the most part, I feel like that's the only way you truly are able to grow in situations too, because without accountability, you're constantly blaming someone else. You're constantly saying it's their fault instead of looking at what you could have done to make the situation better. And it's a lot easier to blame others in situations where you have to look at yourself. It kind of makes you see when you observe children after they break something, they be like, no, it wasn't me, it was them, and stuff like that. And I've noticed as I've gotten older, people are still children. People still have their inner child. And a lot of times, if you were that same person in that situation, I wouldn't say you never grow out of it, but that still will persist throughout you being an adult. Common mental health challenges that can hinder accountability are negative self-talk and limiting beliefs, fear of being judged or fear of failing, unhealthy coping mechanisms, playing out lack of motivation or support. We all need support. All of these can keep you in the situation of not growing. I know with this being a struggle, I know that it literally stops you from being able to grow because you're constantly blaming someone else. You're not sitting back, and to truly grow is to be able to reflect, if you know what I mean. You have to be able to sit down and think what you have done wrong. Majority of all the problems in my, even when I got kicked off the team and all kinds of various situations that I've been through, I've always had to look at what I could have done to improve the situation. And I find the more you're able to look at yourself, the farther you will be able to grow. For the most part, like when I observe people and their ability to not be accountable, they're usually in the same situation. They usually have not grown or progressed, and it paralyzes you. It can paralyze you. I've noticed with my own accountability. Well, let me think about a time that I wasn't accountable for my actions. I would say the most part where I could have improved my actions in a situation would have probably been when I first got to West Virginia last year. I think me being who I am, I just expect people to accept me how I am, or I have a strong personality. And I don't try to rub people wrong in situations and stuff like that, but I know that I have a strong personality. So I know that can have an impact on people. So when I meet people for the first time, I should try to get better at first impression, if that makes sense. I felt like I made a good first impression, but I just feel like where I come from, it's easy to misunderstand me. And me having locks and a nose ring and me just being black, it puts me in a situation where it's easy to misunderstand me and stuff. And I've struggled with that. Well, I wouldn't say I've struggled with that, but I've been in situations where it's hindered me. And I've also been in situations where me being different has helped me. I find that, yeah, I feel like I could have definitely handled the situation better. But you learn. The first step of accountability is being able to accept being at fault. This is hard. I know it's hard. It's my fault. When you go through a hard situation, sit down and tell yourself, it is my fault. What did I do? Not what they did to impact my situation, or what a coach said, or what my mom said, or this or that. It's what did I do to create this situation? I find that society, nobody wants to admit being at fault. I mean, it gets you fired. Well, in the real world, gets you fired majority of the time. I guess what it could possibly get you divorced when you admit you're at fault. When I think harder on it, we're more scared of the consequences of our actions. Yeah, that's really what you're scared of. You're scared of the consequence of what you did and not what you did. And I find that society makes it way easier. I mean, we're constantly distracted. I mean, for the most part, we're being programmed to have our attention spans get shorter and shorter over time. So it's easy to be distracted. I'm distracted majority of the time. That's why I haven't been as consistent as I should be on my podcast. I mean, I sit down and tell myself I need to do this and I need to do that to be good at this, and to quit saying, to actually grow a real podcast. And I wouldn't even say I'm distracted. Well, I would say I'm purposely, it's kind of like self-sabotage when I look back on it, because I know I need to do this, so why am I not doing it? And when I think about why I'm not, I don't know. It could possibly be me being, I wouldn't say scared to fail, but I don't know. It affects, I don't know. Because you don't expect the world, you don't live for everybody to accept you and everything. I guess I want to be understood. I think, yeah, I want to be understood. And for the most part, I feel like everybody who knows me don't really, well, if you know me personally, you know me as a deep thinker and a nerd and all this other stuff. But I feel like for the most part, if you look at any of my social medias, or you know me from the outside in, I mean, you wouldn't expect me to talk about anything other than it being a sports related. That's the main reason why I created this. I just need to get more comfortable with this, and I need to be way more consistent. It's kind of hard talking to yourself. I need to get better at that, I guess. I don't know. As a child, I would always talk to myself, and I kind of always felt, I don't know, it's like I was preparing myself for this moment, kind of in a way. Also, with accountability, it's easy for you to self-blame, but I would not, once you look at it as self-blame, it kind of becomes counterproductive. But I would try to look at it, the best way to look at it is mindful action. It's like being mindful of the actions you're doing day in, day out, every small action. Because oftentimes as humans, I mean, I'm like this. You want success fast, and success is a process. Being accountable for your actions, fixing a bad habit, anything you have going on, it is a process, and it's easy for us to get caught up, for us to skip the process because we see gratification. It's easy to look at the end goal and not what it takes to get there. I find that oftentimes we are not aware of our actions and how it's affecting others. But once you become aware, then you're plainly just choosing to not acknowledge your actions or acknowledge how it makes anybody else feel. So that's when it becomes selfish. And a lot of people are selfish and don't realize they're selfish. Or a lot of people are selfish and realize they're selfish. And it's easier for them to use the guise of them not knowing or them not being aware as a crutch. It stops you from being accountable for what you did. It's easier to play that you didn't know. It's easy for people to act this way. And like my grandmother always says, to live in your truth. The older I get, the more I understand the phrase, the truth will set you free. I want to let everybody know you're not alone in this journey of trying to better yourself. I'm here trying to better myself. Shoot, I'm here with you. You know, we all here together trying to get better. If you guys have any ideas or any topics you want me to talk about, you can, I hope to include it. Hope you guys include it in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be back with you guys for another one. Peace.